Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is the Redhead Gamer, and welcome to the Last Year podcast. We're about to go live here in just a second, so I just want you guys to know we're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff today, including the Nightmare release on Steam, balance, number of other things, so get all ready for that, fam, because it's all coming your way. Joining me right now, though, let's go to our wonderful group of guests here. I'm about to undeafen myself so we can talk to them and all that good stuff here.
No suggestions.
How's it going, guys?
Just pretty much, yeah.
What's up?
Yo, what's good?
Yo, are we
What
starting
is
a podcast?
I know, we're starting a podcast. What a fucking terrible situation.
This is insane.
I know.
Are we?
Wait, I need to
Wait,
stream
what?
snipe you.
Let me stream snipe you.
How are you stream sniping a podcast? I need to know about that.
Very, very
Well, I got in your queue, didn't I? God.
True.
I
True.
got it. The Lily Pichu 5 gum ad popping up. Ugh.
And how's that make you feel, bro?
Oh, is that who's in that? Because I don't even know what's going on in that commercial.
Wow.
This commercial's fucking stupid.
Look, you gotta be more familiar with the big names on Twitch if you ever want to
Shit.
become a pro MLG
Did this-
Twitch streamer, bro.
Look, all I'm saying is, if I'm playing a game and all of a sudden lightning came out of my monitor and burned something in my room, I wouldn't immediately start streaming. I'd call a priest.
You should start
priest?
streaming. That's a sign, bro. A
You are
sign
not
from
gonna
Twitch
believe
Odin.
this shit, but I was playing Avengers, and then all of a sudden my room exploded.
Wait, these are
the
your
fire
visuals
department.
for the stream, Redhead?
What, are you not happy with them?
No, he's got Nick. That's all I care about.
You know what? I think they are a-okay.
Okay,
Nick
good.
Gang's the best gang.
I could have
Check this
threw a top hat on the slasher and also on the Nick, but you know I was kind of thinking against that.
Nah.
I
That's
think
all
it would
good.
look nice. Yeah.
But anyway, let's get on to like some actual content here because
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
people are just like, I don't give a fuck about Lily Pichu or any of the people you're talking about right now, bro. So I guess to start us off here, let's talk about, you know, the biggest thing right now that's been on a lot of people's minds, all right? And that's, of course, the Nightmare release on Steam.
Alright.
Okay, anybody want to start off here? Because I can, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll let you do it.
Okay.
We'll let
Yeah,
you do
you go ahead.
Okay, well, to be honest with you, I think it was a really bad fucking marketing move, and I also think that it scared away a lot of new people, and I also feel that by doing that, you know, and not making it very obvious that it was an older, outdated version, that we ended up getting a lot of bad PR. I literally, like, a few days after it came out, I watched, like, 3 streamers who tried it out. They got the Nightmare version. They had like 500 viewers each. And after finding out that they basically spent $25 for the older, inferior version, as they called it, they essentially ripped the game a new asshole, uninstalled, talked shit to all of their viewers, and then basically just went on with it. And after playing Nightmare a little bit, like, I understand that obviously Elastic Games is short-staffed right now. They don't have a lot of funds to do anything, but I just feel like it was a total waste of time. And also the Nightmare version is super buggy right now because push-to-talk doesn't even work and a number of other issues. But yeah, what's your guys' opinions on
I
it?
completely agree with that, and yeah, push to talk not working was a big thing to me, and I just don't like the slow pace of it. The balancing just isn't. I don't know. It's just not last year to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't
So-
have the original like Discord version where like everything was explosive. You know, you get a pipe bomb, it's like one hit kill basically. It was like exciting. You know, this it's just like slow and 80 damage pipe bomb. You know.
Oh, that one
Right.
hit pipe bomb, man.
Yeah.
I still have PTSD flashbacks on that.
Yeah, fucking
It was-
taser pipe bomb ripperoni, but
The
luckily
thing
they
is,
fixed
I
that.
can't really make a statement on Nightmare because I've never played it yet, so I can't really make a
Yeah.
statement.
I
Yeah.
think
I bought it,
that-
I have it, I just haven't played it yet.
yeah.
Wait, what?
I think that if they were going to market the game, they really should have made it clear that it wasn't a new version of last year,
Right.
or at least on a different price point. Because $25 on sale, 30 normally for an inferior version of a game that you're currently selling for 20 was not the way to go.
Yeah.
If
to be honest,
anything, the game should have been maybe 10, maybe 10.
Well, honestly, you got to think about it from a business perspective here. So if they were going to sell it for 10, obviously Epic gets a cut. Obviously Steam gets a cut. So what are they left with? You know, they're left with the remainder. Maybe you say you make like $4 or even $5 off of each copy sold. And that might be enough to jumpstart some things that we would like to have underway and possibly After Dark, maybe new content for the Nightmare. But I don't see how they could have really reduced the price anymore to actually turn a profit rather than to kind of, you know, put a new game on the line or one that's already had existed and just, you know, throw it out there. Like I think honestly that what they sold it for was absolutely reasonable, but as far as what you were getting, it didn't make much sense, you know?
Yeah, it totally didn't. That's like my big issue, you know, especially since they're not going to update Nightmare anymore. It just seems to me like, you know,
well,
why...
that's the thing. We don't know which version will be updated because it's ultimately publisher's choice. So it's a weird situation.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the publisher could go with any version at this point, but like from what I've seen from the devs in the last year Discord all the time, they're constantly just talking about how, you know, Nightmare is just kind of a cash cow for After Dark updates at this point.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, in some sense, you can't really blame them because of COVID. They're trying their hardest because there are people that haven't played Nightmare. Myself, I would have loved to play Nightmare. Now I have the ability to play it. It may be in a bad state because it is the old version, but again, the nostalgia of what it is, in the original game, people can experience. Oh, this is what it was, what it used to be, and they can, you know, have a bit of fun and a different way for people to experience of what the game used to be like, and have fun on a different game, and as well to try and get out of a bad situation.
Yeah,
because again, of getting a publisher, so they've got to try and get something to move them out of financial struggle. You don't know what they're in and what struggle they're in.
Sure.
So I don't blame them. I can't really stand in judgment in this current time. There are people without jobs, so I don't stand in too much judgment.
Yeah, and I totally understand what they were trying to do here, you know, with like the whole, you know, we need money for the updates and what have you. But like, I guess the one issue I had with it though, like the one thing that really rubbed me wrong was how they hyped it up. You know, like a lot of people had like, you know, it was basically there's this huge thing coming and it's going to be something that attracts a publisher, or it's going to get a lot of people interested in the game, what have you. And like a lot of people kind of got their hopes up. A lot of people were like, oh, it's free to play, or it's going to be this or that or whatever, right? And then like all of a sudden it's like $25 for the older version.
Okay, but basically they can get a publisher with After Dark at the moment. So it was an option to get a publisher last year, the Nightmare. So I think that it was a good idea because it's like, I mean, you have the option to play like the original last year, and it was made mostly for new people that didn't know about last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good idea, but I would have changed the price maybe.
Yeah.
I think the communication was just wrong. I feel like it should have been more like, you know, just tell people what it is before it comes out if it's something that could be controversial.
Yeah, show them what they're getting right off the bat, kind of, you know.
I think another good idea for it would have been, instead of an actual like full-blown release of the game, do it as like a DLC for After Dark. Kind of like if anybody's ever played DMC Devil May Cry, how you can play as Virgil's Downfall and it comes up as a separate option when you load the game. You can play as Devil May Cry, or you can play Virgil's Downfall. And I think that would have been a better option.
Well, yeah, but then you wouldn't get the publisher thing.
Yeah, but you also had the issues, you know, you would have had to have somebody port that shit over, you know, like you would have had to have somebody work that all into the After Dark version, and like I don't think that would have been possible with the current setup they got going.
Right.
Oh no, with the limitations they had, it's understandable how it went down.
Like I understand, like one idea would have been helpful is combining last year into After Dark as a classic. Yes, but that is a massive time consumption because he may have other ideas and that he's working on that doesn't have that probably takes up too much time to work on. But back on the idea of a DLC, I don't know if you go and if all of you have played the Crash Bandicoot games, but the first Crash Bandicoot, it had one level called Stormy Ascent, and it was the hardest level designed, and they took it out because it was deemed too hard. So again, they could have just brought Nightmare into After Dark when they have the time and resource. Focus their views and attention to the moving forward of After Dark. But make Nightmare a part of After Dark instead of, again, like you said, in Red, hopping up Nightmare, or hopping up a big update that could have been for After Dark when it's Nightmare. When they could have done that, but add it as a combination of After Dark. That would have been a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Or even just adding like Old Gym into After Dark as another map, and somehow balancing it out.
Or even map variations. They could have done map variations as well.
Yeah, that would have been cool if
Well,
you could,
there's
like,
really
in
only
the map
one different.
selector.
There's
Like,
only
if
one
you-
variation in this gym. Really.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
Like, I don't see a problem with map variation.
It would have been cool if you could have like a map variant selector, like here's classic gym and here's infested gym.
Yeah.
Well, they would have to
True,
mark
and
as
you know
different
what?
things. Those would have
That's
to be
why
two
we should switch to our next topic. Which
Yeah, yeah.
version looks better? Because I think the Nightmare actually looks better, like visually, than the After Dark version, because the After Dark version has this green shit everywhere, and the Nightmare version has this like nice warm lighting. It's well lit. It looks good.
So yeah, as far as that goes, last year the Nightmare was very, very, very saturated, very vibrant. The reds looked way redder. The oranges were very more appealing, and it kind of gave you more of the feel that you were in sort of the high school-esque, 1990s horror setting. After Dark, it kind of also, I would have to say at the beginning, it gave you sort of the feeling that, oh, it's a horror setting. The spiders have taken over the school. This was initially, the place that they would do all their schoolwork and see their classmates, but now it's just turned into hell. And honestly, when it came to After Dark, I would have to say that it sacrificed lighting and a lot of really good atmosphere to basically trade that for kind of the horror theme of the spider. Now, in the Nightmare, it was completely fine because you obviously had all the nice contrasting colors, but it didn't really translate that well when it came to After Dark.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I liked what they really tried to do with After Dark, and I also liked the idea that every chapter they were essentially going to change up the maps to kind of represent, this is like a new chapter, and, the next Resurrection probably would have had more gothic horror themes and such,
Yeah.
right? But, like, I also feel like in doing so, they kind of couldn't put as much work into the maps as they did before, because then they would have had to change it all over later, which probably would have been a huge pain in the ass,
Yeah.
and a lot of work.
Yeah,
so.
but maybe
Unrealistic
with
goals.
that they can create map variations, like
True,
Spider's
true.
team from that gym, and now with chapter 2 we have another gym. So that's like, I mean, not remove the old maps. So yeah, maybe it was a good
Oh,
idea.
was that the plan? They would have variations of each theme, or would
No,
it just
I
be?
don't know.
Okay,
I don't know
yeah, 'cause
about it.
Yeah,
they kind of marketed it as they were just gonna remove the spider shit, add
Yeah, but that's,
goth stuff, and then to every map, and I don't know, that seemed unrealistic to me.
yeah, I was wondering about that because of
It's a lot of work.
I was curious as to why earlier, when the After Dark first released, like why there weren't variance maps in the first place, like why didn't we have the Nightmare maps available? That was one thing that kind of confused me. But I understand that obviously the meta had changed and they were trying to be, I guess, a bit friendly to newer players by making the maps more linear and clear cut. But I don't know. It just kind of was weird to me that the Nightmare maps weren't there to enjoy originally,
Yeah.
I prefer new gym over old gym, honestly. I really like the flow of it. I like how you have that vent that is useless at the start, and then it literally brings you upstairs. It's like so well thought out. Whereas Sawmill and mine are less creative with that. They're kind of just linear lines.
Yeah. Well, I would just have to say that overall the maps in After Dark are way more linear than the Nightmare. You had way more room to move around, and that's just primarily because, library was huge. still is huge, but Gym was also huge, and they completely cut off.
How was the because I don't have experience in Nightmare? How was the lorry map in Nightmare?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah, basically the same, except there were no spider sacks everywhere, and
Well, not the same actually. They changed like some things about.
There are spawn blocks and hatch changes and ambush
hatch.
changes.
Yeah, they added a few more rooms, whatnot, you know.
But yeah, basically the same.
Yeah.
God, old library was a nightmare.
It was the nightmare.
When the library first came out, people were just like, oh, what is this? No.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was like beta Gym, where there was like nothing in the actual.
Yeah.
So there was nowhere to spawn in. You would just have to pray to God that someone wasn't looking at you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad they changed up the objectives on library for sure, but YOLO.
Exactly.
I will say comparing the two is interesting because the lighting is definitely a lot better on Nightmare, but by like pure graphics and like texturing, After Dark does look better on its textures.
Yeah.
It just needs to fix its lighting.
Yeah.
Also,
there were a lot of suggestions about removing the spider stuff.
Honestly, the spider stuff is all right as a variant.
The best thing
but
they
not
did
like all the
changes,
time.
one of the best changes they did, and this was a frustration for many Fiend players. The best thing they did to help Fiends was removing the collision box between the Fiends and the spiders. The amount of times I've been cooked by one of them crawling in front of me, and I can't trigger the kill, and someone just gets them back up. The amount of times where I've just wanted to just smash my monitors and just scream.
Yeah, right.
No, nothing pissed me off more than getting touched by the spiders, and then the spiders get the kill and not you.
And you were a little bit off a
I'm
challenge.
just trying to grab them. The spiders just swarm them and kill them in front of you, and you're just like, well, that was rude.
Do you know what would be more funny? Imagine if with Giant, when you try to pick up and throw a classmate, but you pick up and throw the cryptid as well.
You just hear little critters just.
Okay.
So I think we can probably go ahead and segue into why does Last Year the Nightmare have better reviews than Last Year?
That's a great answer for the. It's because the players want it to get a publisher so bad, so they're just giving it good reviews, right? I mean, its push to talk doesn't even work. I don't know why it would get these nice moist reviews if one of its core mechanics doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just
so
people
why?
Game.
So why?
Because people
overall,
want the game to get positive attention, I think.
Yeah.
No, because there are a lot of new players that bought Last Year the Nightmare.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of reviews that come from new players.
I think it's kind of a culmination of new players and a lot of really kind of old professional players who really like the Nightmare more and wanted to see the Nightmare kind of like succeed a little bit more.
There are only 69 reviews for
and it's
the
also
Nightmare.
there aren't that many reviews as well. So I mean,
And
it doesn't matter in that regard that there's just less reviews on that one than there is in the actual Last Year on Steam.
Yeah, there's 3,000 for After Dark and 60 for Nightmare.
So obvious.
Got to be the time when it was the free-to-play weekend.
So obviously, Nightmare was released on Steam, and you can only leave a review, I believe, if you bought the item.
Yeah.
So how many people have bought Nightmare? Do we have that number? Because obviously, if there's like
I have that number, but I think I can't say it.
Okay, because I'm just curious, because if there's 69 reviews, obviously.
No, much more. I mean, it really helped Last Year the Nightmare. It really helped. So it was a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just curious. I'm not trying to be that guy who's an asshole, but I'm just wondering, does that count refunds? Because I'm sure there's quite a few people who might have bought it and then realized, oh, this is the older version, and they might have refunded or whatever.
Yeah, there are content refunds too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not trying to completely shit on the Nightmare version. I just really prefer the After Dark version. I'm gonna be honest.
The After Dark version is definitely a lot more polished of a game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
although when it comes to
would
like
you guys-
the reviews for After Dark, that's a mix of a bunch of things.
right, exactly.
Would you guys be happy that they do a graphic update from and continuation from if they were to do a graphic swap and just put the Nightmare graphics onto After Dark
Yeah.
graphics
That's much
I
better.
think
and
Okay,
to
so-
improve the look of the game?
And
yeah,
the movement too.
maybe just a little bit, because you do have to understand for some people here, maybe they don't have the best gaming PCs, things of the sort like that.
Yeah,
and
and they can go into the options. That's what I was going to segue into. For people that don't have the best computer setups, instead of going into the files and doing it that way, you can have some like a quality check instead of just like low, low, medium, high, or whatever. That then they have more options. They can and they can choose. Also, they can have old school, which is what the original graphics from Nightmare, or they can have normal, which is what After Dark is. So
No,
if they
Really
want,
hard, really hard
want,
because
Yeah,
Yeah, that's unnecessary. I feel like.
Real
that,
quick,
that would,
It's
that would
it's an
also
idea.
be not.
there are different engines.
real quick,
Mm.
I do want to like bring this up before we get too far off away from it. But looking at chat, Lolibob basically said that when the free weekend hit, a lot of people kind of left bad reviews because I guess when they first tried the game out, obviously they didn't have like a good taste in their mouth from the experience. So I guess kind of going off of that, like how do you think could they make the game more noob friendly? Because that's one thing like a lot of people complain about. Like I always hear people get into the game and like if they don't have a dream team with them, they're always just gonna suffer, because let's be honest, if you don't know how to play and you're with other people who don't know how to play, it just kind of sucks. And my idea is a ranking system.
I've got two ideas.
Oh, yeah.
I got 4 ideas.
I have
handle
a
it.
singular idea,
I've got a couple, but I'll wait.
and my
okay.
idea is just a tutorial.
No, what do you mean?
When you
Expand
start
on
up, like there's other games in the genre where you start up the game, it immediately loads you into a tutorial. Here's how you play this. Here's how you
No,
do
well,
this.
there
This
is a
your
tutorial.
ability.
Yeah,
what do you
there is an After
there's
Dark
a
tutorial.
tutorial.
There is?
Yes.
Never
Yeah,
noticed it.
there's a tutorial.
Oh god, I never noticed it. Never mind, ignore me. I'm an
You
idiot.
probably flipped past it.
Wow.
Oh god,
I mean,
maybe that's part of the issue. Like
Yeah, there it is, dude.
That's
There
a
it
good
is.
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Make it like a requirement. You have to play
It
the
is.
tutorial.
It is a requirement.
Wait, what?
So how
You can hit the
Well,
arrows on the side and go past it.
right?
Oh, I mean like a playable tutorial, not like the images.
No, yeah.
It is
It's a
playable.
playable tutorial.
Is it?
for both sides.
I'm an idiot. Just ignore me.
and you can go into it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to show something. Wait.
Oh, hello.
Show something.
you got me on the edge of my seat right now.
Yeah, I'm
Same.
I am firmly planted in
Uh,
the middle of my chair.
I'm on the edge.
No, okay, try to put that image if you
one
can.
quick,
Or...
hold on. A quick point before we segue into that. Lollipop just made a really good point. The tour is a little bit too hidden. A bit too
It
hidden.
is.
When you
Not
come out of
really. If it's your first time on the game, it shows play tutorial and play classmate tutorial, play fiend tutorial. You have to go out of your way, choose the arrow, and then flip to actually start the game. So
Fair
if it's your first time logging into the game, your options are tutorial,
yeah.
tutorial, and you have to go out of your way to make it not tutorial.
Well, Lollipop just said because some people get bugged, they have to restart, and then they can't find it again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it does have some issues. So as far as that goes, maybe a
Orsand,
change.
what is that? Can you
Okay,
explain?
Lollipop, Lollipop, but I don't know
yeah.
how to pronounce it again.
I-
Said that they got like a review bombing, negative review bombing on the free weekend. But as you can see in the review chart that I sent in the last year podcast channel,
Mhm.
it got like much more positive reviews than negative ones.
I see
I
that.
mean, the biggest mistake is in the launch they look.
Yeah.
I just saw the image, Rethat, but
That's
I will
true.
send the.
Good point.
Okay. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, I mean, that then it, I guess I could, and this. Let me just say it. Yeah, it could just be people getting on the game. At launch, it was honestly like pretty weird starting off, right? You really had to figure it out on your own. So that could have been, and you'll see it when it turned to like $2. A lot of old players who quit playing for the entire time didn't know there was tutorial, rework spells, all that, and they came back and started playing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna assume a lot of people left bad reviews on that first period and got off the game completely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly, it was probably, if you guys remember, the servers were kind of having issues right off the start. That didn't really make a very good first impression.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'd like to bring up, but I'm not going to mention the person's name. There was another thing that could have put a dent in people playing. Do you remember the glitch where you could literally crash a lobby if you put in a load of wording into the text,
Yeah, I
where
remember
people could abuse the hell out of it. I know the group that did it. I'm not going to say their names, but that's one thing that really did damage to last year because people were just constantly crashing people's lobbies.
I didn't see that as too much like as big of an issue. I mean, it was big, but they fixed it, right?
Yeah, I'm happy they did.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I
yeah,
know there was definitely some like bad blood. A little bit of that came over from the silence that happened with Nightmare, and then
Yeah.
that just the whole situation with Discord just it wasn't a good
they were
start,
trying
and
to
then
tarnish the same
people didn't
approach.
have as much faith in the game
Right.
as they should have.
Pretty much tarnishing the same brush.
I also
Sorry.
I also feel like the game did attract the wrong audience as well. Like, a lot of people came into the game expecting this to be like DBD. Let's be honest, like even today when like a few days ago I had one game that was pretty hilarious actually. Like I was playing Spider and I was on library and this Raj went in to grab the disc and he grabs the disc, he hears me coming, goes into the bathroom stall, closes the door and crouches.
Oh god.
And that's when I knew like this guy came from DVD.
Look,
He's in the locker.
don't
He
you
expected to be
dare,
able to decide to strike your ass when you open the potty.
Redhead, don't you dare disrespect the bathroom stall strat. Because back in the day when the game first came out, you could jump over the stalls into a stall with an unopenable door and just stay there. That was the best strat in the game because you could let everybody else die and they couldn't get you.
But I'm just saying, like, I feel like a lot of people come in the last year, like, expecting this to be a game where they can basically play it solo. Like in DBD, where you can loop the killer, or you just gotta jump on a gen, or if everybody dies except you, you can escape via hatch or one of the escape gates, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like they kind of just come in here, and then, like, the fact that their team probably isn't always up to snuff, and the Fiend's probably like a really good player or even like average, and maybe they don't know everything they're doing, but Fiend ain't as hard as classmate in my opinion when you're just starting out. That losing over and over again because the team ain't able to assist you when you need them to just kind of fucking sucks, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think that kind of segues a little bit into is the game balanced for new players?
You know what? Okay, wait for that, okay? 'Cause I need to say something, right?
Go ahead.
Okay, so first off, ambushes are trash, right? They need to be spawn points instead of kills. They need to be placed in areas where line of sight blocks might not be possible versus really good teams. So then it doesn't hurt noobs, and it only affects high tier play. Also, there needs to be numbers in the menu. There needs to be descriptions everywhere when it's your first time playing a class. It should pop up tips when you craft an item for how to use it and everything. You need to be able to understand your class role, the class roles when you first start, because assaults will run in and they won't realize they need a medic. They will think they can tank the entire killer on their own and they will die instantly. So that's a huge issue, is understanding the class roles.
Yeah, that's
and some pro tips as well. Like make sure you're not on your own. Advisable routes as well. That's a good decision. Advisable routes.
Yeah.
And if you come this way, and you're on your own, this is a very dangerous place to be, so to speak. Like take the maze part in Battle Tower, and it's slasher. Like that's a very dangerous place to be on your own.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part of me thinks that because I know they were planning on changing ambushes, and Backlid had said in the chat the other day that they had not gotten to the father's ambush, and I honestly suspect it is because they were not gonna do his until they were ready to change all of them because that was their plan.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As
But
far as
anyway,
Uh,
sorry,
yeah,
balance.
But I've got a lot of points on the ambushes, but I'm gonna wait till we come to the balance subject.
yeah, I guess,
Balance
speaking
of
of
Nightmare
balance.
is what we're talking about, right?
I guess kind of speaking about balance though, since it was brought up about, new players and if the game's balanced towards them. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things I kind of find hard, because although we have a tutorial, like there are a lot of things I don't really think you could express to people really well in a tutorial. Like for example, like I don't think a lot of newbies understand body blocking, for example. If you're being attacked by the fiend and you get low on health, you can run away, use your teammates as meat shields, and they'll basically block the fiend from tunneling and chasing you down. And a lot of people don't really seem to understand that. They kind of just like stay there, or like they just run in a weird direction
They
and
just
get chased.
they just look at the feed and just go, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah, basically, it's like deer in headlights,
Yeah.
I mean, another thing is that new players are also too afraid of the fiend. Like
True.
they will not
Well,
take
not
hit
true,
for
really.
anybody
Unless
else.
it's assault, yes.
Well,
No.
The
I mean,
new assault will just run in and get killed.
True.
Other new classes will just run away most of the
Yeah.
not really, because I have seen a lot of new players like punching the killer. Like, what are you doing? So that's like I don't know, but I mean, they should like add something like you shouldn't punch the killer because it doesn't deal enough damage to kill them.
Yeah.
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 Numbers there needs to be like all the classes set up, and then you can click on them and see all of the numbers and descriptions of each item on the main menu.
Like
And for fiends as well. And for
Yeah,
fiends.
fiends also,
Don't forget
yeah.
fiends as well. Like how much
And
how much
a
damage
predator
their
mode
changes.
description too would be pog.
I think that's relatively straightforward, honestly.
Yeah.
yeah,
That kind of explains itself.
Yeah. Streamlining info is probably
yeah,
the
like
important thing to do.
like I guess kind of going off a comment here, like Contro, basically says that the tutorial is not informative enough. But
Right.
I guess like the issue I see though is like a lot of the advanced strats that you need in order to like be successful in this game, like there's no real way to learn them on your own. I mean, I guess you could on accident, maybe you like see things and you're like, "Oh, that's a good idea," but like I don't really see a lot of people learning about body blocking or like, fucking like, many of the other techniques out there
Flat
without
flinches.
somebody being there and like literally making a video or like, fucking hitting them up and basically drill sergeanting them for like a few days, like it just seems to me like this is stuff you have to like learn via baptism by fire, and at the same time that's not really good for a player base because let's be honest, not a lot of people are going to want to stick around and learn about all these techniques, like vent teching is the thing, you can try to trick out the fiend to get a save or whatever, but how many people are really going to like try to learn that or like think of that or what have you?
Exactly,
I think a good addition would be have kind of like bringing this up. The Dead by Daylight server has a specific place and a role for people who are experienced in the game, where they can be. There's a specific channel where people can.
Well, there used to be a pro
learn.
tips channel.
Yeah.
But it was kind of useless.
Yeah, people would just post shit like, don't
Yeah.
fucking, swarm the fiend, dumbass. That was basically like 90% of
Yeah.
posts.
No, like set it up where it's kind of like a game lobby. Hey,
Yeah.
I need to learn how to play the game. Is there anybody available to help me?
Are you saying I should get on Fiverr and start offering coaching services?
For $5, I'll teach you how to run in a straight line.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, using Dead by Daylight as an example, you kind of have to build up the player to where they want to explore different techniques, right? Because like, in Dead by Daylight, it's really simple, but people have figured out like, locker techs where they're like Bubba's charging and then they hide in the locker and they can get out if they time it just right, but it's like that's kind of a trash example, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, you get the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You kind of have to help them out at the start.
but that's
Yeah,
kind of
there ain't no 360ing in this game, boys.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the issue of last year though. Like, Dead by Daylight by its nature is just very simple. Like looping is just a very simple concept to pick up. I mean, yeah, you can, there's things you got to learn and there's ways to counter it and, blah 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 and things you can learn that away. But like, the idea of just okay, if I run in the circle around this like area here, the killer has a hard time, catching me. And if he tries to like go the other way, I just have to turn the other way and blah, 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 right? Like in last year though, like there's different classes that each have like different items and different abilities. And you have to learn how like they synergize with one another. And you have to learn when to do this, when this guy does this. If the scout throws a smoke, that's a good time to throw a Molotov or for the tech to put down his turret or what have you, right? But like, that's a lot of stuff and that's a lot of brain power, and I don't feel like a lot of newbies want to take the time to like learn that stuff.
Yeah.
So like
they don't really consider this more of a team game because I think they're still set in the idea because in Dead by Daylight, obviously, you're not always around your team.
Well, even for complete randos, I mean, just watching the trailers, it doesn't seem like a team game. It just seems like
absolutely is though. Like
yeah. But the trailers don't make it look that way. It just seems like you can beat the shit out of the killer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and the newest trailer for Sawmill, bitch goes up with the chainsaw and one-shot kills Slasher.
yeah,
And,
that's
well, that's dramatic
and
effect though,
yeah.
well,
That's
yeah, but still, it like
it does.
okay,
You're right.
Overwatch does it with their Overwatch. Call me cringe. I don't even play the game, but I like when I did, right? They'd show these characters, these new characters, and they'd set everyone's health low, and then they just on the trailer that new character would be melting health, and everyone would be like, "Whoa, oh my god, it's OP," and then it'd come out and it's like fair or
Never
not
mind.
fair. Yeah, and that's kind of what last year trailers have done, except in a bad way.
I don't know. They're just so dead set on like showing off what's like capable rather than showing like the actuality of a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
but-
would be important to actually have a
Trailers-
trailer for the game where it shows
Explains the
how
gameplay
important
loop and
teamwork is.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Like show people working together. Like somebody throws the Molotov.
Yeah.
There's the gas cannon, then the Molotov. Medic healing the assault as he's beating somebody to death. Like
Right.
Mm.
And then parts for killer outplaying people, things of the sort like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's cool and all, but like for advertising purposes, I don't think that would really like seem interesting to some people. Like I just don't really feel like, general last year gameplay is gonna like grab people. Like if I see like two medics bodying up on this assault while they're just slapping away on the slasher, I mean, it's
True,
cool,
I mean-
but it's not as dramatic as,
Yeah,
the girl.
There's a correct way and an incorrect way to do it, and I think you could probably balance it out to make it look
Just-
well.
Yeah.
But-
It'd just be gameplay.
Okay, I'd like to talk about Nightmare Balance, the new Nightmare Balance, a little bit, or like things that
Wait, there's a
aren't in it.
difference between the old Nightmare and new Nightmare?
Yeah,
Well,
Steam
you know,
release had balance
Nightmare
changes.
to After Dark
Yep.
comparison.
Okay. So is that
So,
there is
like-
a difference in balance between them both?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't play it long. I played it for like 4 hours, and I was like, eh. And I
You're
got off.
talking
It.
to granddads of this game, boy. You'll listen to us.
But what do you want to start out with, Reekyu?
I guess like lack of shields. I feel like shields make such a good impact on Fiend gameplay, and just overall because you get in these situations where in the Nightmare version where you need to literally die or else you can't progress. You have to switch characters because they already have you low on health, right? They could ignore you till they get the objective done, and then they'll kill you right there, and then you have to spawn in as a new killer. Shields change that. You can keep playing as one killer. It's not as strict, and it's more fair that way. I don't know. I feel like moving to the Nightmare version, if they were to continue updating it, there's so much stuff in After Dark that would be taken out of it that were improvements made to the entire game. As far as balance goes.
Yeah, obviously taking a few things from other games, from the other game, and putting it into Nightmare would probably benefit it in some good regards. But overall, Nightmare is Nightmare. It was created as the sole purpose that it was. The shield was something that was added for After Dark for that sort of effect. I don't think that really would have made too much sense for the Nightmare, other than just gameplay. I think everything for Nightmare was relatively straightforward, relatively balanced. It was just based on you as a gamer and based on the teams and players as gamers necessarily. Honestly, I had a blast with the Nightmare. I put most of my time into it. I found that if the team was really good, I would have trouble, obviously, and that would actually cause me to have to work a little bit harder. But when it came to teams that weren't necessarily nearly as coordinated, or one person runs off, I felt like I had the upper hand the whole time. You know.
Well, okay, it comes down, like, good game design is where your loss is your fault, or your loss is you being outplayed, and vice versa. If you win, it's because you've done good, not because the game has handed it to you. So I feel like without shields, you're kind of losing because of the game, right? You can't, you have to die. You have to go out of your way to die at that point.
Yeah, which was just kind of
regard.
kind of annoying in my opinion. Like honestly, like once you get down to a certain amount, like it was just kind of pointless to
and that's how it
continue.
was early After Dark too, and
That was
they fixed it. So I don't know.
But one thing I did notice was that Nightmare just seems really, it's like really slow compared to After Dark. You know, like I played Nightmare back in the day, but like, you know, when I was playing Strangler, for example, like I went up to a group and like I was just smacking away on like one of the guys, and it took me like 6-7 hits, I think, and the medic like the entire time was actually out healing my damage. So it was just kind of like, what? Like, you know, it's just really weird.
It also feels like a game of no strategy, basically. It's like everything is damage based, and I don't like that. I like the having the shocker, and you know, if I use it, then my team can gang up on Giant specifically, who's it's best for, or I have to craft a Molly because specifically it's really good on Spider, and otherwise she's gonna be dangerous to face.
Yeah, but that's worse to new players because they have to learn all of that. So
true, but the new players wouldn't struggle to learn that as much if it were put in a place where they could learn it.
Just made obvious.
So yeah, descriptions, numbers shown in the menu.
And that, honestly, I kind of want to see something like that where
or yeah, like it could
the survivors for classes, and it actually tells you details and shows you the skills that you're using, and like how many yards does the utility ability for the slasher you go, or how much damage does the cleave do, or what's this sort of stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, also I don't know how much the devs would have like continued with this, but like each killer having weaknesses and resistances, that could be shown on the killer selection by just having like a plus fire and a minus poison or whatever icon next to the killer, and that would show their resistant, and their weakness, and that would help a lot because you could then have those icons placed next to the items that correlate to that in the menu. So fire icon next to Molly, and when you first use the Molotov or flamethrower, it could pop up like this does more damage to fire weak fiends or whatever.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like they removed acid and lightning, so I
don't know how much the devs would have continued with that.
Yeah, but
acid combo, man.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That
was terrible, but like I'm just saying, like, why does the spider still have a weakness to fire when, like, none of the other fiends really do? I mean, Slasher has resistance, but like, there's only one element. Like, what's the point?
I don't know if they had any plans to continue, like...
Yeah, they were going to add acid damage again.
Back. I need to go to the toilet.
With the new weapon.
Okay, so they were gonna add new weapons?
Acid gun. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Bagley said that.
It was it gonna be like an item you could, like, could you pick it up on the map, or was it like
craft.
Oh, for which class?
Wait, what?
Acid gun, potato gun, and crossbow.
Oh.
Okay.
So the
Alright.
acid gun would be like what, a
It
squirt
was
gun?
for the classes, like one for assault, other one for medic.
What for miss?
Okay, so yeah, so that would have been really good actually. Is
And
that
it was-
in the? Are those finished? Are those in the summer camp update that never came out?
Yeah, that was in the August update.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Uh,
Hmm.
okay. Well, we'll go back to that. We'll go back to that. I
Yeah.
also want to say the only thing specifically that I actually enjoyed over After Dark in the Nightmare version was Strangler.
Because he strangles you.
We don't even need to discuss why. It's pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
it's
But yeah.
I don't know, man. I like strangling
sounds
stranglers. Right.
I miss Choke Me Daddy.
All right, are we on balance for
You know,
overall yet?
No,
real
gonna-
quick. Real quick, a lot of people, like, to this day, still give me shit about liking Strangler, but, like, I know there are a lot of people out there who think, just in general, that he doesn't fit in with the style of the game. And, like, you know, obviously, he's gone through a lot of balance changes. He no longer holds people like he does in Nightmare. He now kind of just pulls people into his goddamn little trap shithole and basically throws them there and hits them a few times, right? But, like, you know, I guess how exactly would you, you know, keep that character in the game, fit his, like, personality, but yet still make him, like, a viable and fun part of the game? Or is that even possible? Because I've had some people literally say they want to scrap him, like, straight up.
No. I actually have this one completely
I
thought out.
also have an idea, but it's very simple and easy to implement, I feel like.
Yes. So right here, I've kind of had this one planned out for a very long time. I don't even know if this would ever be implemented, but absolutely keep the Strangler as the Strangler. So what he does is he pulls you in with the chain. The chain does the damage, but once he has you in the strangle, that doesn't do damage. However, it keeps all of the other classmates from knowing where that classmate is. So it relies entirely on team coordination at that point. If they don't see that one person is with them the whole time, they're going to start asking questions. And
Well, that
obviously,
seems kind of useless.
Yeah, it does.
no, because he can hold them and keep them strangled as long as he wants, bring them to wherever location, and just absolutely finish them off.
You realize, wait,
That
Cool,
sounds.
are you memeing? Are you memeing?
Dude.
Yeah,
I
but
can see.
but
I can
the
see how
easiest
good.
ways-
Hold on. Before you shit on the idea, I can see how good the idea is if everyone is on the communication inside the game. But again, it's defeated by third-party voice comms.
True.
My
And
my
that's bad to have because that's one of Dead by Daylight's biggest issues is communication versus no communication. Sorry to compare the two, but like, you know.
And another thing before Red jumps in, you can press enter and talk.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too, like, you know, not to mention like with how slow, I mean, in Nightmare version anyway, like how slow Strangler moves when he's grabbing a hold of somebody, like it would just take fucking forever. And not just that, like with how fast the game moves, if you're going up against somebody who's like halfway competent, the entire time you're dragging somebody across the map, you know, they're gonna be pushing objectives or some
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
Like
That
it's
is true. Yeah, that is true.
So maybe increase the speed how he when he's holding someone and he's got them grabbed while choking them. Maybe do like a slight bit of damage, like really low, but not too excessive.
give him the
But you
ability
can
to teleport, I guess.
No.
Nah,
Ah, yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay,
I'm
let
talking about
me give my suggestion. It's Pog, I think. Okay, so they slowed his hook. Okay, that gives Scout more time to flash against a good team. You're never gonna get that off. So rework his smoke.
Can I take my balance changes for Strangler before you after you make your point?
Yes. But bigger smoke. It has no effects on like speed for the classmate. It blocks their line of sight when they're in it, and if Strangler's in it, he can spawn out. No matter what. It doesn't slow you. You can just run through it as classmate. You just won't see, and it blocks flashlight, right? So you throw it and then you hook. and then they can't flash. That's good for pros, but then they can gangbang you, right? If they're all 5. So you're choosing, I'm using this so I can pull, or I can pull and then throw it to escape if they gangbang me.
It's a good decision, mate.
Okay.
That's one thing. That's one idea that I'd add on top of mine, but it's a different dynamic. But it's just straight to the point, simple.
Yeah.
My additions for Strangler, he needs that long chain back, like the short chain, like.
Yeah.
And like, you know, one of my favorite kill strategy points on Battle Tower, and I did this a lot at the start of the match, when classmates would run through the center building, and you got that little tiny square
Yeah.
on looking onto our drop vent. The amount of times where I'd lace a few traps at the bottom of the drop vent, so when open up a trap door, wait for people to come past, drag them over to the drop vent, throw them down, and take the full damage into the trap and finish them off. But with his current chain, you can't do it unless they step too close.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd like a longer chain.
You have to use traps.
I really believe he needs that long chain back. My other ideas, and towards the scout, which you brought in, which obviously you had the gas idea, but yes, there's timing, but this is where if a Strangler approaches that at an angle they're not expecting, then he can get better at, and he can get achieve with this. Basically, the chain pull cannot be prevented by the scout blind. So if he's got the classmate on the actual chain, can't be blinded. But when he's about to throw it, then it can be cancelled. That was my idea.
Maybe.
So if a scout happens to he's literally paying hard attention, and he's either at the back. Let's say if you've got 2 scouts, one's at the front, one's at the back, and the Strangler happens to come from one side, and they happen to react, and they were concentrating good enough, and the Strangler made the mistake of going to throw the chain, and while in the throw, he got flashed.
Right.
And then of course he goes and cooldown.
I feel like that's not noob friendly enough. I mean, they slowed it down, so like even if a shitty scout walks by, they'll still flash, and then they'll realize, oh, you can flash now, and that's good for understanding class roles for scouts, and it's also kind of easy. So I feel like scout needs to have that that slow, like more time to do that. Especially, let's say my smoke was implemented. There would be times where they wouldn't be able to, and that's perfectly fine, because the better the teams get as people improve, the more likely you're not going to be able to get a single hook as Strangler, because if there's 2 scouts, you'll never be able to if they're always nearby, because their times are faster than yours since there's 2 of them.
Okay, so 2 things I want to bring up here real quick. I guess going off of Pixelated Powers comment, why not actually reward the Strangler for strangling, make his chain do less damage, but make his actual strangle do massive damage? To counter this, make his chain a bit slower and make him throw classmates further when he lets them go. And I guess the other thing I'd like to address is, like, in my opinion, the Strangler's biggest weakness right now is the fact that, once you get up on him, you basically just swarm him. You chase him down. Like, if you fucking get up on him and you make sure he doesn't despawn, he's gonna be your little bitch.
Not only that, his gas utility doesn't slow the classmates down enough to get away.
Yeah.
Oh, it gives you 1 extra hit.
So that's what I'm trying to say here. Like, how exactly do you make it so that Strangler doesn't just get fucking obliterated the second you get up close to him, but at the same time, like, he doesn't just get away every 5 seconds,
Well, okay. So, again, with my smoke suggestion, right? You throw it and then you just spawn out. That's it. And that's if you have it. If you don't, then you're fucked, and you deserve to be fucked because you used it to get a free pull.
But what would be the cooldown on that? Because I feel like if the Strangler can just, appear and disappear at will, like, that's going to be super annoying, especially for newer players
seconds.
when you just pop around all the place.
Like a spider.
30 seconds.
30 seconds? That's
Yeah.
longer than his actual ability.
Okay,
His
think about it
current-
like this.
His
So,
current is 10.
it's only going to be used that 1 instance to get away. Then again, at that point, you can start planning out your next strategy. It gives you enough time, and 30 seconds will go by really quickly anyway. You know, so you use it and you throw it underneath your feet. You despawn, and then you're out. You take the time to set traps. You take the time to move around, see what they're doing, see what scrap they have, and then by that time, you can already go right back into it. You can start attacking. You can throw chains. You can do all that nonsense, and 30 seconds is already up anyway.
I know they were trying to be consistent with the utility times. They're all 10 seconds, or no, they're all, or is it 10 and 12? They could literally, some are 10, some are 12, right? Why don't they could just literally just change it to 15 then, if it were my choice. 15 with my suggestion, honestly. And Pixel, Caltrops, cool, right? But essentially it would be the same thing as a smoke, but or it would be the same thing as a trap, but you place it physically, right? Its function would just be what the smoke was supposed to be, I feel like. And I'd much rather have the mind game with scout blocking with the thing, and then you really have to think multiple steps ahead with that, or else you're screwed. And also with the strangling thing, I would like him to throw further, because then it would make Strangler not get like 2 free hits after throwing someone, which helps noobs because he's kind of just a wacky fuck. And then strangling damage should be increased, I feel like, to balance that out, so it's not like being whacked. It's taking the damage and then you get to run free, rather than taking the damage then getting 2 more hits.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, that would actually be really cool. Pixel, I like that idea. What I think would be also interesting to actually go along with that is throwing the chain, obviously, but it doesn't naturally cool down. Instead, you have to do sort of a short kind of wind up, where you wind your chain back up, you pull it back in. So the farther you throw it, the longer you're gonna have to wind that shit back in.
That sounds interesting.
So the longer
I don't
you
know
can
if it's fog,
but you'd have to take the time to wind that shit back in. Up close, it wouldn't.
I don't know.
That sort of thing.
That kind of feels like
it does that wind in naturally in predator mode? Like, do you have to be spawned in? Like, go somewhere else?
It's like barricading a door. You have to do like the circle. It has to go around, and you have to wind it like in. You're like putting it back on your wrist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's an unnecessary nerf when he's already pretty trash at high level.
Well, that would make the chain that much better. You'd have to get it.
I mean, if it were buffed, yeah, but theoretically, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna add that sort of limitation to the chain, you buff the chain.
Well, that goes along with Pixel's thing, though. Like, once you get them, you start strangling.
Oh yeah, okay.
I just want him to start choking people again.
All right. Yeah, so before we carry on this conversation, where are we on the topics? Do we move on to actual balance talk, or is anything we've missed? Because we haven't talked about the general lobbies yet.
We're gonna talk about which versions are being updated. So, which versions will be updated.
Like, just veering off a little bit and little off subject in towards balance. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just improving the updated versions. So joinable lobbies, it's really annoying. Even for a solo player, he's playing casual, he's playing with some people or people in a 3-man, and 2 people that are not in their squad. They quit because they couldn't handle it, or they just can't be asked. I do believe joinable lobbies would help, and it would help a few times. It would help people that are trying to find a match. It would help. It would stop lobby simulator massively.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the biggest downfall is just waiting for a game, and that will encourage people to stop and to stop playing.
And to prevent that from being like really annoying, like a ping check, maybe the game will check if your ping will be like 115 up or 200, and then it will deny you that lobby if it's gonna be horrible.
That'd be really nice, yeah.
But also, I wanna
yes or no. Like, it will tell you the ping of the lobby, how many people are in there.
True. Yeah.
But I don't want that to be discouraged by to people to there's only 2 people in there, I'm not gonna join that. I don't think showing how many people are in that game should be in there, so to speak, because if you say there's only 2 people in there, I'm not gonna join that. I don't think that number should be shown. because then that will defeat the object of making joinable lobbies.
Maybe.
'Cause
Yeah.
it would defeat it. Like, say if I'm solo queuing, it's taken too long to find a lobby. Sweet, I'll go and join one that's already played out. I don't know what its progress are. Maybe they could say what. Maybe one thing they could say is how far the objectives are done. What the time is? Maybe, I don't know. But I'd say how many. I don't know about that, because that could also be a discretion, but as well.
Well, if people are like almost done, then obviously there's just they'll either join in and finish it up, or they just won't join at all.
Yeah, honestly, one of the best parts from Nightmare that should be brought over is a lobby search function.
Yeah,
Just being able to go, okay, there's all these lobbies being held in my region. I can't find a lobby with people I want to play with. I can go to a different region.
Yeah, here's my idea. Like, I was thinking originally,
Hey,
they should do.
Red, you should switch back first. It's still on the.
Well, yeah, I'm showing gameplay, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess my idea though is like, it was mentioned earlier, but honestly, do like a casual mode and a ranked mode. Have the casual mode be like the old Nightmare setup, I guess, where you just join a lobby and you all can choose who's Fiend or whatever, and then have like a ranked mode where it's
really
like,
pog, yeah.
I want to be Fiend or I want to be classmate, and then you get your ranking based off of that.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, but the player base is really low to do that. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd say there should be an auto queue. If there are no ranked ones left or whatever, then you would get into a Nightmare type lobby where you stay in it even when the game's over. But you'll
basically it will drag you into it, and say, and here's this, with the joinable lobbies function, even if the game is about to end, say if you're trying to find a lobby and you can choose.
Yeah, you'll stay in it. Yeah.
You'll stay in it, but you can just stay. You can choose to join in the fight, even if they're losing. You just get your challenges done. It's still a good feature. Or there could be a spectator mode where you can actually watch a match as well. That would be nice. So say if you got in, say like you can have a seventh person watching the match. That would also help the game being broadcasted as a tournament play as well.
I don't know about that, because then it's just people wasting their time outside of a game.
True, but there are people that would like to watch high-tier gameplay, and also they can watch how the game is done instead of trying. And because there are people that don't have stream setups and don't want to watch a stream, and they want to watch their experienced friends play, and they can show how it's done instead of them trying to carry them.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, this game was originally
it's helping new players. Like,
yeah.
I don't think a new player would go out of their way though to watch that.
Yeah,
That's like if you have a friend.
you never know.
Yeah, but like the thing is too is like a lot of games that use that setting, like League and Dota and whatever, right? Like they're all like super competitive games. I mean, like they have MLG leagues and like there's fucking like prize money on the line, and people play this shit professionally, and that's why like people review that stuff, because they want to like become super like pro MLG and shit. And, like, this game was originally designed to be a party game. Like, I just don't think it really fits the whole personality of the game and what they're trying to do here, because if you add that, like, obviously there are people who play this game super competitively, and we had a tournament here recently, but I don't feel like a lot of people get into this game because they want to do like pro MLG tournament plays and shit.
True.
Yeah, when it comes to ASIMs,
But it's
not a competitive
it's
genre.
It's okay to have a competitive element, though.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I love the balance. The balance is like slightly competitive, right? But I don't think it's like a tournament game.
ASIMs have never been in that kind of.
Well, they could never be in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But we're gonna be wrapping it up here soon. We got about like
back onto. Oh, sorry.
Real quick.
Go on.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but like we got like 20 minutes here, so I guess what's the one topic y'all want to talk about right now?
Okay,
like,
I want
to talk about map balance. That's what I want to cover. I want to talk about map balance.
Okay.
I think the one thing we need to talk about is any sort of progress updates.
No, I think which version's being updated, and then content plans.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Oh, shit, we're so far behind.
Yeah, I looked at
I
it.
do want to talk about really important to me is the selling spider to people who buy the game late. Like, so whenever the next update, make spider sell, remove mystic or a dailies, maybe do 1 map per chapter, because that's insane to do 3. That's like a lot of work, especially when you don't even plan to sell killers. Killers should be sold.
Yes.
And overall, there needs to be more reason for people to use money in this game, because you've got 1600 ore free, you've got 1 free skin in the shop. They gave away one of the best skins, and they plan to have free killers. Like, sorry to compare it.
There's not on a business standpoint.
Fortnite
there's
or
not
Dead
much
by
to be
Daylight,
successful.
all their money comes from cosmetics, and
Right.
Dead by Daylight sells their chapters. And their maps aren't as high quality as this game's. Their killers aren't modeled as high quality as this game's.
My what
Overall, the voice acting is just this actually has voice acting. Make us pay for that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my one issue though, I guess, in that regard, especially when it comes to like selling fiends or what have you, is that from the way the devs explained it in like previous streams and videos they've had, is that they basically want to make it so that, you can think of synergies for fiends, I guess, like, how would one work, and like if you do damage one way, like, would that other fiend be able to complement it or what have you. And
Well,
like
yeah, but that,
I guess, like, looking at it right now, like, I just don't want this to turn into, like, a pay-to-win game. I don't want, like, a fiend to come out that's, like, necessary for, like, a certain combo or strategy, or is just super good and, like, have people have to pay, like, $8 in order to be viable,
Yeah, the last thing you need is a pay to win.
true, you could say that, but like,
And
it's similar
also,
to like
another
Dead by
thing
Daylight
in
perks.
regards to attraction to the game, licensed characters. What licensed character
No,
would suit this game?
I don't know, man.
That's
They don't
not
have
even
money.
worth
Well,
talking
I'm
about.
just thinking about it. What
Let's
would
think about a publisher before we think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because licensing goes way beyond where we're
That's
at
that's
right
something
now.
else entirely.
About pay to win, right? So Dead by Daylight, that you can pay for the killers, but you can unlock them with other in-game currency as well, which is free but hard to get, right?
Yeah.
I'd suggest something like 100,000 cards for the Fiend. That's a lot of time, right, for a character. Or you could buy
Or
them.
Mystic or
No, well, okay, I'm also saying no Mystic or dailies, because I don't think there should be a free way to unlock that. I just
It's a bad marketing. It's a bad way of.
I mean, I
of
think that
business.
there should be like Mystic or but weekly, like 100 weekly.
weekly. That
I mean,
sounds
that's
good. I
good.
don't think dailies though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100 weekly is a low enough.
And
number
even then,
where
it should be only like
pretty
50,
good.
and then a handful of cards. So then
Yeah,
you're,
it's just
yeah.
not to make it pay to win, so they can buy a fiend with Mystic Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's no money. There was no money. Like, people do not need to buy skins for this game if they want them. They can just slowly wait, or just do the Arcanum and they get it free, basically. Arcanum shouldn't have Mystic
Yeah,
Ore.
so, I
Maybe
do
it should
agree
have
with
it.
Sam in the chat. I think 100k is a bit too much because of how much you earn per game. I'd say about,
Well,
I don't know, probably 50.
that's too much.
50,000.
Probably 50.
I mean, look at the
Yeah.
way Dead by Daylight does it. It costs 9,000 iridescent shards to buy an unlicensed character. That's just for one character. That's not even including the killer and the survivor.
True.
And you get iridescent shards by leveling up, but
Yeah.
every time you level up, it
Sparky,
varies
the
by
cards, not
either,
mythical.
That's
500 iridescent shards to a max of, what is it, 150 when you're like in like level 70 and above.
Right.
So it still takes a long amount of grinding
Yeah,
to get to that point.
And you have to do it in a way where it keeps people playing. You don't want people getting on, checking their daily, doing it, and waiting till they get Mystic Ore so they can buy a skin. You want people staying on it, so you have players, so then people can play it. Like, there was a long period of time where no lobbies, right? You have people playing because they have something to work for, work toward, long term. Not get on, play a match, get your reward, and get off. You want
Yeah.
people on there a while, working for a fiend, or just buying it because they don't want to wait that long, which a lot of people do. That's how, like, I could Siege, Rainbow Six Siege, right? I don't buy it anymore because I don't want to play it on Xbox, right? That's where I have it. I don't have it on PC, or I do, but yeah. I just get it free, and it takes so long, but I don't really care, right? I can wait. But there are some people who want it, and they get like a week early. They get their operators, and they pay for them because they don't want to wait.
Yeah, so like going off of, some of the comments going on in the chat right now, like obviously like if you were to make it that high, like 100k cards, you would literally need to revamp the entire card system because 350 a game if like you do well is just fucking terrible. And like I've played the game for like such a long time, and let me tell you, like I only have like 120,000 cards.
Yeah.
And like of course I've bought everything at this point and like what have you that you can get with cards, but like that would take fucking ages just to get like one skin. That would drive people.
Yeah, that definitely is biased for me, right?
Wait,
Because
you're
I have
talking 100k for a skin? I thought we were still talking about an
no
actual character.
100k for
No,
100k for
fighter.
Fiend. Yeah.
Fiend,
But
excuse me.
I think 50k for a fiend.
I
But
think
it
so
should
too.
be Mysticor. It should be Mysticor.
no, I'm saying
Mysticor and
cards and Mysticor.
yeah.
Right, so you'd have a Mysticor, which is like
I would
$10
say
worth, $10 for the Fiend because it's a lot of work. Modeling
I'd
and
say
whatever.
even 30k cards for the actual for the character on cards, and about how much
I'd say
Synchronistic
at least
War?
50k, dude. I don't know. Yeah, 50k. Yeah, Lollibob 50k cards or 1200 ore. I think that's solid.
Yeah, but you can buy cards too in the game store.
Well, there you
And
go.
I,
then.
I, I
Because
can't remember the price of the cards.
And one thing I would
I
say
think for
don't
like
allow people to buy
$5
cards.
you can get like 6k worth of cards, if I'm not mistaken.
That
Yeah.
does count.
That's.
I don't know.
Um,
There needs to be some way to unlock it for a long time, or buy it, and
Yeah.
you gotta sell Fiends. Like,
True. It's true.
There's no way a game like this could survive purely off of sales for the actual game,
itself.
especially since it's $5 right now, which is great because people are trying it. But now you kind of have to treat it like a free-to-play game. 2.0 skins that's got to come out. Removing Mystic Ore in game and making mimic Dead by Daylight style of marketing. I feel like, or sorry, sources of income.
Yeah, I was about to bring up actually,
Not
like,
too excessive.
for like possible content and things of sort like that, like, what could we see, what's gonna come, that sort of thing. Like, obviously we've talked about a few really good points here, making future killers something you have to pay for or earn.
I would hands down pay for a character. I would, especially on the character side.
But so
I
like,
would hands down, even the father, I would pay for it.
well, yeah. So like one map chapters, perhaps. Possible future content, things of sort of like that. Making that one map really stand out for the chapter itself. Making them paid for. That sort of thing. So as far as that goes, do we have any like progress?
No, yeah, which version? Okay, Orsand, which version is going to be updated?
Yeah, yeah.
We need to. I think that's one thing that needs to be known.
I mean, there are plans to update After Dark, in general.
Okay.
I think honestly,
Yeah, I can say more.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say like updates in general for both games, or
He means After Dark is getting updates.
In After Dark.
Okay, after that, okay. So
And a publisher.
I don't know, like, because it's difficult to release updates in Nightmare, because like that engine is so outdated and it's really hard to update the game.
Yeah.
But maybe things like, I don't know, Summer Camp can be possible for Nightmare too.
With Nightmare, it wouldn't be hard to do a few bug fixes. Like, there's not necessarily new content on Nightmare, but bug fixes and a few balance and just a teeny few tweaks to balance changes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just.
It's possible.
Bug fixes and balance, perfect.
Is it guaranteed that if we get a publisher, it is way more likely that Nightmare or After Dark will be updated?
If they get a publisher After Dark. But if they get a publisher, I think that it will be more likely thanks to Nightmare than After Dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, honestly,
because After Dark is like low player base. It didn't prove in the market. Um, and Nightmare is still like a new game, and it can be promoted. It has good reviews at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
that's out
like
of 60 reviews, and there's also a lot more content in After Dark. It has gotten a lot more players than the Nightmare version, and that's even with XQC playing it for however long.
well, it could possibly work though. Think about like taking a lot of the things from After Dark and just putting them in the Nightmare.
Yeah.
yeah.
Moving
So-
the things that worked in
Yeah,
Nightmare.
I
But-
don't know. That feels like a waste of development.
That
when
would-
you already have it
that-
all.
That's true.
That would also require a lot of balance changes and stuff. Like, because of the fact that Nightmare plays a lot slower and there's no cryptids and a number of other things. Like, Spider, for example, like that'd be fucking insane in Nightmare.
Spider would be horrible on
Yeah.
the Nightmare version.
Yeah,
No matter how you tweaked it, since they're so slow.
it's true. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I'd like to see like Nightmare become like the main focus, but quite honestly, we have so much stuff that's already been developed for After Dark, and we got all the skins and stuff like that. That if at this point we just add some of the stuff that we did for the Nightmare to After Dark, such as like achievements,
Yeah, true.
be pretty
Achievements
cool.
are great.
But a little backtrack on developer business. I think they really need. Yeah, yes. Scrap the ability to earn Mystic Orb in dailies. Shouldn't happen. You have to buy them outright. Not even weekly. I disagree with the weekly thing. That you have to buy it.
I think so.
Because someone can literally just play and literally just wait until the right moment and then buy it. I think that you should scrap earning Mystic Ore altogether.
Yeah,
across-
maybe
weekly.
like
Weekly
maybe
mission.
like 100 through
Hard one.
Arcanums, but not 1600.
Oh yeah, all right, fair enough. Weekly earn, fine. Take it off the Arcanum, not right. Because like if earning it by earning it by progress, like if they continue, the Arcanum's like different one each chapter.
Yeah.
Then again, you don't need to buy it. They're losing. They lose out.
Yeah, even if the fiends are worth it, then you'd just be able to unlock it through completing the Arcanum, which you don't.
Think about this. So it's just all right. Each Arcanum, there's only a little bit there, only a little bit. So it's not going to give you like the full.
No,
like, you got,
I don't even know about that anymore.
two,
Honestly.
maybe even just one. But that'll
I
give
think
you a little bit.
I will say that I think the one thing people really want to know: do we have any sort of news for the next update? Because that's how we get people. to come back.
How about we ask it like this? Will there be an update within the next few months? Do you think, Orsand?
I
Summer
don't
camp.
think
Do you
so.
think that's gonna come out?
In the next 3 months, I don't think so.
Really?
Because I mean, if they get money,
The thing is, we're still in COVID. I think like we just have to be very patient. It is upsetting that we can't.
Do you mind letting Orson finish his?
Yeah,
thing
go ahead.
We're coming in.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, first of all, they need the money. They don't have it yet.
Yeah.
But Sale and Nightmare help a lot, for sure. But they still need more money because it's expensive. But I mean, if someday they get the money, maybe with more sales, the game is $5 now. Maybe in winter is $2 again. And if they get enough money, they will have like to make the team again, to plan a roadmap, do everything again. Like that would take a lot of time to do everything. So I don't think so that in 3 months we will have an update.
Do you think we'll have something at some point?
Maybe at some point we have something, but it depends a lot. I mean, now no one is working on the game.
Okay. I guess with that, we're gonna cut
I mean-
off here.
On the game, like developing the game, but there are still people on Elastic Games.
Okay. Well, with that, we're gonna cut it off here. I just want to say thank you guys for joining us today. Really appreciate
No problem.
all the questions, the chats, and also everybody here on the board, of course. So thank you, Dread. Thank you, Levi. Thank you, Orson. Thank you,
worries, man.
Reekyu. Thank you, Cruel. But Yeah, I guess real quick, why don't you guys go ahead and plug your social media and Twitch channels or what have you? I'm sure everybody would appreciate that and they'd love to check out your stuff. So let's start with Dread real quick.
No problem. And there's me.
Are you just gonna post it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I meant like just, go down the list,
Yeah,
bro,
just
but
say it,
whatever,
say
man.
it.
Professional gamer.
You
Anyway,
didn't specify. You
See
did
more
not
Whatever.
in chat.
whatever,
You
bro.
didn't specify.
Whatever, bro. Levi,
You
go
didn't
ahead.
Specify.
Hi, this is Levi. You can find me on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter as LeviBreaks. I'm the #1 Nick main. Never forget
No.
it. Nobody claimed it. I took it.
Go T.
There it is.
Go team, go!
But anyway, Orsand.
Wildcats, get your head in the game.
I'm not dealing with this nonsense anymore. Orsand.
Well, I don't have. I mean, nah, nothing. I know that influencer. Sorry.
He has a YouTube. Anyway, Reekyu.
Twitch.tv/Reekyu.
That's what I'm
And
talking
I also
about.
got Twitter, and I have an Instagram. I don't use it at all, but I
Oh.
sometimes use Twitter.
Okay. And Cruel.
TheKruel, just search me up on YouTube. That's pretty much it. Have an Instagram. Last year, God.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyway, guys, with that in mind, I'm going to send it on over to a friend of mine. She has COVID. Life's fucking terrible. Please show her some love. But anyway, I'm not going to scam you guys out, okay? I know you guys really want this.
Oh god, here we go.
All right, here we go.
This is this. I'm sitting
No.
webcam for this shit. I am not being on webcam for this.
All
shit.
right, here we go, guys.
Let's see it.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. Don't worry, I'll fucking give it to you guys next time, the full entire time. I love you guys. See ya!